is the Motovation Podcast, hosted by Laurie Joy Kingwell and Krissy Vann. That's me. And we're taking you on a little off-roading.
And every single week, we're going to be joined by our dope friend, Richelle from True Grit Moto.
Woo! Hey, I floss.
And every week, we are going to ask each other stupid questions, and we're going to answer them. And why, you may ask? Because we can. All right, this is your Motovation
Off-road edition. Are you bathers? If so, how often? How do you have or take your baths? Bubble baths, candles, music. What is your bath jam if you do? Do you?
Okay, this is a good one because recently I always go to Raina for all my massage stuff.
Yeah.
Because she's the bomb.com, Raina RMT, Vancouver. And she was giving me a massage and I was like, ooh, and it was like so painful. And she's like, you are so dehydrated and your muscles are just like so tense that she was like, I'm giving you homework. Like you have to have a bath for the next week, like 7 days straight. Like bath it or continue being in pain. And I was like, okay. So I think that I find that I do baths out of necessity, not like out of pleasure. Like it's like I'm sick. Oh, bath. It's an odd one, but sure, I'll light a candle, throw a little couple bubbles. I do a lot of eucalyptus, or thieves oil. Thieves oil is so good. And then I can't do too hot, so I got to do like a little bit of lukewarm toe dip, then get in, then heat it up.
Yes.
And that's my shtees. Yeah, that's I do. Yeah, I bath it out of necessity.
Okay. Not a regular bather here. I would say I'm like a sexy bather, like sexy time bather. Like, you know, when you go and stay at a hotel and you're like, look at this jacuzzi that probably has some gnarly shit in the things, but screw it, we're doing it. That's my bathing level. Like, and I love too, you kind of have to get the little jets to go first and mysterious things float out of it. And you're like, we're just going to drain that and start fresh.
What places are you staying in? I'm just noting it.
I feel like regardless, because they either don't get used enough or think about it. They get used. They're always in a sexy setting. They'll like put a bath in the middle of the room or like have glass doors that open up. And you're like, well, we can't not utilize this has been placed here. We have to show this bath that it's fulfilling its destiny.
Yeah. So let's get a little pube on me and this is sexy time.
When
a Band-Aid.
So I definitely feel like you have to take the bath and then a shower after, unless you like to feel dirty.
Ooh.
Oh, get those girlfriends
for
in
all
here.
Of our naughty listeners.
For all of our naughty listeners. Ookie dookie. Oh, yeah, this is a hard left from our pimple popping stories only a couple episodes ago. Don't relive it. We already heard before this that not everyone could handle that. That's fair. We know the threshold. You got to test the boundaries.
Yeah.
Good to know. I can't be honest with my friends. Chelsea's no longer your friend anymore. I told you in the recording, I say, I'm pretty sure I've lost friends. Turns out, correct. I am, a big bather. I bathe, always really have. And I probably bathe on average twice a week.
What?
Probably more in the winter, but even in the summer, I bathe.
For what though? Like, what does it do for you?
It is the most like relax. So we have these little twinkle lights. I plug those in. I get my music going, instrumental, just chill music, or sometimes there's singers on it. And bubbles. I've got like this vanilla coconut. It's Dave baths too. And
okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I just got to say this. Like, you're like 7 feet tall. What do? You lay down and you like legs up it? Or like what?
No, when I sit back
for so long,
my feet just come on the ridge on the, like at the back side. And I kind of half sit up. When I go to people's houses and they've got these gorgeous big baths and I look at them and say, do you use your bath? And then they look at me and go, not really. I want to punch them so hard.
I'm just like, why? That's like, why? What a waste. Like this gorgeous bath. I'll even for Airbnbs, I'll take a hard look and make sure that there's a bath in, like I'm staying at an Airbnb next week on my own. I've checked out the bath situation and they even have like these like linen curtains on either side. And I was like, so sign me up. I'm in.
Like a sexy bath. Just saying, you can be sexy by yourself.
Absolutely. I don't usually by myself. I'm usually in the therapeutic mode. Sometimes I go, if I'm really sad, I go cry in the bath. I'll just have a good cry in the bath. But I love that. I love baths. It's a whole thing. I always shave my legs right when I get in so that like skin feels smooth in the bath. Like I even have like a routine in the bath.
Yes.
Well done, you.
It's a thing.
I love it. And I don't know about you guys, but I think anytime I'm naked, it's sexy time. So that's a problem, I guess.
Oh, I got a great quick story. This is another off-road in the off-road. So there is these dog treats that are human grade. They even say on the front, and they always smell so good because they're sweet potato. And I checked on the back because I was like, these smell amazing. What are in them? And I read all the ingredients and it's all these like organic this, organic that. And it's all just regular human food. And I thought, well, I get to eat these. And so they turned into my treats. They're no longer the dog treats. And I love them. They're so good. Anyways, I walk around my house naked a lot. And I was in the kitchen, butt naked, and I was eating dog treats. They're on the counter, and Dave comes around the corner and he says, oh, it looks like you're feeling like your old self, naked eating dog treats in the kitchen.
I thought you were going to say that he turned the corner and went, who's a good girl? Scratch your bum or behind the ear.
Maybe she was getting there, Krissy. Maybe she was getting there.
It was more the like where you saw yourself from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
That like, this is where I'm at in life, just naked eating dog treats. And then but I was just like, lucky man. Lucky man.
I would love to see that. That's beautiful.
I'll send you a picture next time.
Please do. I want Dave in it as well.
Okay.
just request line.
Frowning at me.
Yeah. Oh, I love Dave.
Next question.
Okay. Oh God, this is like a before I was self-employed, because now I'm like 7 a.m. till 12 at night. How do you feel?
True Grit Moto, check it out.
Yeah. How do you feel about like a Monday to Friday 9 to 5? In this world, like, should we change this? To me, it seems a bit aggressive.
Definitely, we should change it. And it's actually, the movement has already begun. Yeah. I can't remember what countries was it Iceland? Do not quote me, but I know that there are countries already that have been trialing the 4-day work week. And scientifically, it has been proven that productivity does not go down. In fact, people are actually more productive. Because how many times, if you've ever worked that 9 to 5 life or something that's 9 to 5 adjacent, Monday to Friday, it's almost like people are trying to fill their time. And I've kind of always been of the mindset that you have hired me for my skill sets, and it doesn't matter. Me and, Billy Bob next to me might work differently. And I might be able to do a task in 30 minutes and that same task might take them 2 hours, what have you. Like, you're hiring me for a skill set, and it shouldn't matter in regards to actual documented hours, how long it takes. Obviously, it's different. Let's say I started my life working in retail. You have no choice. You're kind of standing there forever. But I don't think that it's necessary, because if all of a sudden, when you go into weekend mode for people that work that traditional life, everyone's in weekend mode kind of thing. Totally. So if we decide that weekend mode is, let's say, 3 days, and we have 4-day work weeks and the days are a little bit shorter, I think you'll squeeze more out of people, because if they have more downtime, they're going to be able to give you more uptime when they're on the clock.
And more excited to be able to go into work. I don't know about you guys, but 100%. I love the people that I work with. And I'm like, after a 9 to 5, I'm like, I'm kind of sick at you. But when Monday comes, I'm kind of like, I'm excited to see the people I work with, like, it sucks when everybody's grumpy and hating life and trying to figure out what to do next. Like, when I was working at the Art Institute, I mean, I've already said it now, but It was cubicles, 9 to 5 in a closed off room with no windows. I was like, I need a plant. Any plant I would get would die.
The plant was like, I'm out. This life's not worth it.
Totally. Like people had like goldfish and they were dying. And it's like, well, if even the fish and the plants don't want to live, what makes me want to be here? Oh my God, it was terrible.
And you're like, I know better. And I'm still sitting here for some weird fucking reason.
I'm still here.
Here.
What am I doing?
I think the 4-week or the 4-day week is going to be change things drastically, I think, for people's mental health and quality of life. If they utilize it properly and not just like smash it full of shit that they shouldn't, doesn't feed the soul kind of thing. But you think of the Saturday, you're kind of like getting shit done around the house, running errands, doing all those kinds of things. I find that on Fridays, because the job that I have that isn't my business, because that's obviously more flexible. I say that, but right after this at 8:30 at night, I have a family. I was like, oh, it's nice. And it is wonderful. But you also then have like, who's hopping on a work call at 8:30 at night? But this is where we're at, right? Kids are in bed at that time. Any hoodoo. A Friday is the time that I get a jump on that work with my joy in the homework, as well as get my errands done and stuff. So then Saturday, I can actually lean into the weekend. And Saturday and Sunday, I don't do any work for the most part. There's an odd weekend where I have to catch up, but I try not to do any work on the weekends. And then Monday, I really am ready to get back to work because I've had 2 full days of rest and restore, where for most people they have one, and that's Sunday. And usually they're even more exhausted because they've worked 5 days and now had their 1 day off where they're running around town with everybody else. And everyone's like, packed in the stores, packed in all the lines. And
then you got to do your laundry, clean your house.
Yeah.
Do all the shit.
And who made these rules? Well, we know. It's all a system. We've been trained for it our whole lives. That's what schools have done. They wear obey, obey, obey. Don't think outside the box.
Good God, right?
Well, I'm glad we're all on the same page here, and I'm glad we're making some changes. It's very important.
So I'm going to only work 2 days. I'm going to really go to town.
I'm going to work 2 days, 24 hours.
24 hours.
I'm going to get it all in one day done. Watch me. I'm doing it today. Why can't I do that every week?
I'm going to kill it.
So
all right.
All right.
We've all had people that overstay their welcome. How do you politely tell visitors that it's time to go home? The ones where you're like exhausted and they won't leave.
Right. That's a good question.
I don't really have a lot of that because I know that after about day 3 or 4, I kind of come out of my skin of needing alone time. So I have over the years created where I go visit people so I can like drop in and peace out. Or if I need to leave to have alone time, then I just am like, heading out, going for a walk. Cause you can't really do that when people are at your house. You can't be like, you stay here, I'm going to leave.
But I'm talking about like, if you're having a party or visitors, like not necessarily a multi-day stay.
I
just when you're like hanging out and people just the conversation keeps going and you're like, I really want my bed. Like,
well, I usually in those circumstances, end up just dating them. And it turns into 1-2 year long relationships.
Yeah,
never works out. Don't try it.
She's like, you're going to stay? You know what? Have this side of the bed for the next year.
Every time.
Yeah. It's Richelle's brain's like, it's either
I'm not even lying.
I know you're not. She's like, either I have to be impolite and say leave, or I'll go to an extreme and just give them everything I have, including my heart and soul.
Give them half.
Give them half.
Just keep doubling down.
Feed them, give them half.
Feed them and give them half. That's going to be our bumper sticker. Right. So gotcha. The party. I don't host enough. Here's the thing. I don't host. I'm a terrible host. I don't think things through enough when they do come. I get lost in the visit. Maybe I'm the one that hangs out too long. You know what? That's what it is. I'm that one. So I don't know.
This is why I did this question, just so you would have this realization for when
you guys tell me the cues so I can finally know them. and then I'll watch for them. Actually, no, I think the biggest ones is standing at the door. And when people just like hold it and hold it and hold it, unless we're like rightfully laughing, I'm so in. But I think I take that from our family. Cause like our family as growing up, all our like in-laws, uncles, aunties, and everybody, they all just like stood at the door and had another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And you'd just be like, well, let's just go sit back down. I'm standing. No, this is, let's come
what
back
is
in.
That door stand thing? A lot of people do that. Like just go put the shoes on and then, it's like, just why don't you just hang out a little bit longer, I guess.
Like I'm in. So long as I'm laughing, I'm in for everything. So like you get a pass if you're funny people, then you get to do whatever the F you want in my world.
I love that. You know what I do? I just go to bed.
Yes.
We had a buddy that would do that. He would just, we would party all night at his place and he would just disappear and be like, oh, Pete went to bed. And we would stay for like another 3 hours. Cause he didn't want the party to stop. He just was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm done.
Yeah. I'm just going to go to bed and
you're a lot like Pete, actually, Richelle. So that actually adds up.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah. I was
Pete,
just like,
hit me up.
Oh, Petey boy. Everyone loves Pete.
Oh man. I love a name. I love Peters.
Pete's like Pete the cat. Weird. Have you ever seen the Pete the Cat books? He's just like this chill hippie cat that just kind of goes with the flow. Pete the cat. That's what that's what Pete's like. And I love that's what you're like.
Thank you.
So that's kind of my approach.
Pete the cat.
Sorry. No, I love entertaining. I grew up in a household that just due to my dad's illness, we really didn't have sleepovers or people over. And so I think I doubled down in my adult life when I had my own space. I was like, let's throw ragers. So I would throw massive parties when I had my own place and all the things. And even still, I love hosting and having people. And I think that we host a lot where all of a sudden the hours tick by and you're like, holy shit, it's 3 a.m. kind of thing. But then you reach that wall. And normally, Richelle, I'm team you. I used to have walls. So I'd just be like, you guys hang out and I'll take off. But now I live in a loft, like a warehouse style loft. And my bed is in the same room as the kitchen and the same room as the living room.
That's it.
I literally am the person that's the buzzkill that's like, this has been great. I'm going to go to bed and you guys got to leave now.
Everybody's got to go.
Everybody got to go.
I know what I do. You just reminded me. I maybe even have done this with you guys. Maybe not. I'll actually, if I know that I have to be in bed by a certain time, I'll like, when I invite people over, obviously it's not necessarily on the weekends, but on weeknights, I'll even say like, we got till 9. So you decide when you want to come over, but we got till 9. Yeah. And I'll actually set a little alarm because I'm so dependent on a good night's sleep that I can't mess about with it. So like I'll set an alarm and it'd be like, that's my alarm. So that the alarm essentially is cueing the people of like, it's bedtime.
It's an interior curfew.
Yeah.
Instead of telling them when to be home, you're telling them when to get out of your home.
Yeah. And then it's like,
brilliant.
And then, so they know ahead of time that like, and then when I'm like, oh, it's 9. And then
we should just start getting something dramatic, like those sand towers that flip over and slowly drip down and be like, this is how much time we have to hang out. Like
get one of those bells, those triangles.
Yes. The gong has spoken.
Oh, yeah.
Exit now. I'm going to get an exit gong.
I'm going to
hear the gong.
Shoot a
you're
gun.
Gone.
I'm just going to have a gun that is shooting.
Yeah, just shoot BBs or water guns at people, just like spray them in the face. It's time to go. Turn all your lights on.
With the mostesses.
Right. It's weird that I don't like to host because come to think about it, all in high school, because when you said that reference of like, we didn't really have people over and stuff, it was always my house that friends came over to when we'd get ready to go to the bar or get ready to go out. So, but my hostess with the mostess job was like cracking the Milwaukee lager.
Oh, if I was friends with you, Laurie, I would have raided your cupboards and ate your fruit by the foot.
Yeah.
And Dunkaroos. I was that kid that would go to the houses and eat the snacks.
Delicious.
Me too.
That had them.
Delicious. Yeah. Richelle and I have a deep respect for snacks.
Oh, I'm on a cleanse right now. Let's not even talk about snacks.
No,
okay, guys?
Oh,
I'm cleansing Wild Rose.
Oh, no.
Oh,
okay.
no.
Oh, no.
Myself
no
all
wonder
morning.
The glasses were necessary and things got fuzzy. You're surviving on roses.
Surviving on roses.
Yeah. Have you guys ever been stuck on an elevator?
Stuck in an elevator. No. And that I would hate that. I'm so claustrophobic. I don't even know if I'd make it out of there alive. I'd probably run around in circles, panic, and run into things. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
No.
It does sound terrifying, doesn't it?
Have you?
Yeah, twice in a year. But
what?
Yeah, it was crazy. And 2 different buildings. And it was always kind of like one of those things that you're like, I'm really scared at the idea of ever get claustrophobia, same sort of idea. This would scare the shit out of me. I hope it never happens. And there was 4 other people with me, and I just picked up supper, and we were stuck for 2 hours. And I immediately sat down on the ground when we got stuck because my brain started panicking. And I thought, you need to get your shit together because you're here, whether you like it or not. And then once I kind of accepted I was on this elevator and wasn't going anywhere, I was just like, you're just technically you're in a box, but you can breathe and there's humans here. Thank gosh, there was 2 other people too. So we were like pretty packed in there at first, and then they got off, and then it got stuck just after them.
Oh man.
It would have been horrible if we were all in it. But we started sharing the food that I had just picked up. So we had supper, and we just like told stories, and we bonded. And it was almost weird when we were saying goodbye to each other, because we was like, so I'll see you on the other side.
How long were you in there for?
2 hours the first time. And then about 8 months later or something like that, I was, I'd taken little man Hudson, one of my friend's little guys, to Granville Island. He was like 2.5 at the time. And we got on the elevator, and it was his nap time, and we got stuck, and we were stuck for like an hour. And it's the cutest thing. It's on my Instagram. I was like, okay, like, don't want him getting nervous because he's, like young and he doesn't know. So I was like, I'm going to make sense of this through song. So I started making up a song. We're stuck on 2. Oh, what do we do now? And we were singing it so much that I would go, we're stuck on, and he'd go, 2, we're stuck on 2. And he's like, and you can even hear him go, why we not moving, Auntie Yoli? And I was like, we're stuck on 2. And so we danced on the elevator. We put Spotify on, and we danced and like told stories. We even laid on the ground to like look at pictures and everything. Thank God we took a toilet break because he was out of diapers and everything at the time, but not a cry, not a worry. He got off the elevator and was like, no, that was fine. That was fun. And it was just
how long were you on that one for?
An hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was just like, I don't know if I should be doing this elevator thing, but I also was a weird lesson, because I was like, everything that I think is scary in my brain is 99% more scary in my brain than actual reality.
In everything.
Yeah, exactly. So I always like, if I hype something up too scary, I'm like, you're doing the elevator thing. It's not that scary.
Yeah. It's hard to get out of that.
Well, yeah,
I've never been stuck, but I would fear it because I have bathroom anxiety. And if I knew, even if I had been you and been like, thank God I just went to the bathroom, the minute I knew going to the bathroom wasn't an option, it would make me have to go to the bathroom. Like if I get stuck in an elevator, I just hope it's by myself. So if I have to like have a little wee in a bottle or something, I could do it with dignity. But now all of them have cameras. I'm stressed out just thinking about this.
There's that.
I'm going to end up on like some weird OnlyFans of like people peeing in elevators. That's going to be me.
Bathroom anxiety. I've never heard about that.
Oh, that's why I'm an aisle seater on planes. I just need to know that getting to the bathroom is an option, or else my bladder is like spidey senses go and it goes into overdrive to be like, we're just going to make more.
I love that. I think that's a smart idea. I would hate it if I had to know, if I couldn't go to the washroom. I didn't even think about that. Oh my God. Do I have it?
Now you have a new paranoia.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Oh God.
Thanks,
maybe I do have this.
That's really the goal of the Motovation Podcast, to spread anxiety and give you some new fears. That's the main pillars.
It's working.
Well done, us.
All right.
Who's up? Richelle.
Me. Let's hit this. What do I got?
What you got, girl?
Okay. Oh, this one's so daunting. Okay. Buying real estate in Vancouver. Like, what the heck?
All your questions are like life shit now. You're like, I said, Richelle's trying to figure out life through off-roading now.
I know, because you guys are my mentors. So I'm like, I'm sure other people want to know this shit.
No,
like I'm
it's
34
good.
years old.
Yes.
How on earth? I'm thinking about like maybe buying a houseboat if I possibly can. They have to be half sinking to afford it. Do you own, and how did you end up buying it? How did you get there?
Saved money.
Well, I'm never going to get one now.
But that's also not a great answer.
I'm joking.
And not
no,
in it, because I was like, statistically, I was
Laurie?
like in Vancouver.
I wish you could see. We don't own a home, to be clear. To be
and
very
it's not
clear.
Me saying that's not a great answer, but I wish I had the stat in front of me that was like the amount you would have to save for it actually to be a realistic down payment is not even feasible unless
outrageous.
When you read the comparables of how many years of work, it's like 20 some odd years. Whereas, 10 years ago, people only needed a year or 2 years salary put away. So
right.
I do own in Vancouver, but it only happened because when I was in my early 20s, I did get a very little modest inheritance from my grandpa, and I wasn't a fool with it. I put it away. It helped me do my internship in New Zealand, and then I held on to it, which I'd say somebody in the early 20s that didn't grow up with a lot of free cash or anything like that was something
impressive.
I was proud of.
Yeah.
And then when I was 25, we bought it was like across from a crack den situation and a playground. And I was like, this is a pretty gritty hood, but we're going to put the money in here kind of thing. And so we bought our first home for $169,000 for a 2,400 square foot home. And so that's crazy. The only reason why we were able to buy in Vancouver, because we parted ways with that, which, to be honest, I look back and sometimes I'm like, well, like, should we have held on? But it's very stressful having tenants cross country, and it needed work and all the things. And so we were able to use that as leverage. But I do feel really grateful because my grandfather was immigrated to Canada, started out as a dishwasher, made his own brand Alvani fashions, and was successful in his life. And so for him to know that he had this little, everything that we have, I always attribute, it wasn't a grand amount or anything like that, but it was just enough to give us our start. And so for him to know where we are now, I just know it would mean the world to him, because it's like the classic story of escaping after war and all of that. And so I'm like, his little legacy went a long way. And I'm just glad I was not necessarily mature enough, but for some reason made the right choices at the right time, and that opportunity presented.
Yeah. It sounds like a lot of people do it out of inheritance these days.
Well, like go with even the payment of the saving thing we make a good living, we save our money, and it's not in our ballpark to buy here. And it's like, and this is making a good solid wage and saving money. And it's so out of hand, and it's gotten so ludicrous. And so like the fact that we're even desensitized to the fact that, houses are selling for the house that you were living in, that was an older home that had no renovations or anything like that. And what was it? $1.9 million.
Yeah, it was crazy. And there's still nobody's still in it. Yeah. They bought it cash, sight unseen. It was sold in 24 hours, and it's just sitting there.
It's
1.9 million.
It's quite literally, it's really, really scary to think of. And that gap just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. And it's one of those things where I have absolutely no idea what the answer to it is. I just know that it's so outrageous.
Well, and the fact that we got our place, and the reason why we were able to get this for like 169, and the only reason why we were able to move up is because real estate exploded where we were from. And it's my little tiny city with not too much to boast about it. And so anyone that's from where I'm from can't even afford to live in their own home. And it's like, Vancouver's terrible, but you're also like mountain, oceans, like a lot of investors. It makes sense. And all these little rural communities as well. I don't even know how we fix this now.
Right?
Yeah.
Where do you go?
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. Wow. We're just
houseboats.
Yeah. Get it.
There we go.
Get home.
Yeah.
See.
I'm floating. I'm tired of this city. I'm out of here. I'm floating away.
We're going to Forrest Gump it. We're just going to go out to sea and see what happens.
Right. And even then, even if you wanted to buy a houseboat, which is, I honestly have been venturing towards it, you can't finance them. You got to buy them outright. You got to pay cash. Yeah. So it's a bummer. There's nothing about it, but
say we got to move to our piece of land, and just
island commune.
Do it saying, Belitas.
That's it.
That's it.
You just went off-roading with the Motovation Podcast, hosted by Laurie Joy Kingwell and myself, Krissy Vann.
And of course, a special thank you to Richelle from True Get Moto.
Whoop, boss it.
Never miss an episode by hitting like or subscribe. Connect with us on Instagram at Motovation Podcast and visit our website at themotovation.com. And in the meantime, full tanks, full throttle.
I think this is good though. It's like healthy, you know, like people will be like, oh my God, I don't floss.
Plus, it'd be so hard not to laugh to get through this intro.